Hey everybody, welcome back. I just got this in the mail today. This is the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Ayane from Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. So why don't we open it up and we'll see what's inside. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at the packaging and then we'll open her up. Unfortunately, it looks like mine got a little scratched up or dinted or something. I don't know if that was during shipping or what, but there's a little bit of a scratch there. Not a big deal. I don't worry too much about the boxes, but that's unfortunate, I guess, if you're a collector and you wanted this completely mint. So we just have the standard information here, Ayane, Revoltech, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, and then a nice picture of the figure right there. On the side, we've got another nice shot of the figure, and then just the same info that's on the front. On the other side, we have a couple more shots of her. There she is doing kind of a cool ninja hands pose, and then I guess kind of like an action pose, and then just this same info right there. On the top, same info there, Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja, who made these games. And on the bottom is just Revoltech, a couple QR codes, and technical information. On the back, we have a nice kind of spread here of various poses and things like that she can do. Right here we can see, I guess that's all the things she comes with. A couple blades, just the handles with no blades. I wonder what that is. Maybe so she can tuck it into her costume somewhere, something like that maybe. Various hands, and then her, I forget the name of those, but like her little dart things that she throws. And then just showing off the posability. Looks like she's gonna be able to take a lot of poses. That looks really great. I like her kind of relaxed poses here, then the cool superhero landing pose, the flip. It looks really good actually. Okay, so why don't we crack her open, shall we? I know it's just for protection, but that's really funny. Looks like she's all ready for bed. Okay, we'll let her continue to nap and check her out in a second. First, let's see what accessories this comes with. So we've got just a pretty standard stand, although it does say Koei Tecmo, Ninja Gaiden and everything, or Team Ninja on the back there, but otherwise it's pretty simple. And then this will plug into that, of course, to hold her up. Makes me wonder how well is she going to stand up on her own. And that'll attach to the top of that to clip her from behind. She's got these really tiny little blades. Yeah, they seem to have a bit of coloring on the outside edge, and then they've got a nice silver there, and this butterfly motif. Really nice gold kind of color there. And even the handle, wow, the detailing, this is really tiny. You can see it's smaller than my finger, but it's got really nice, clear, clean detailing there. That's pretty good. And then we've got the bladeless version of both, which I'm not sure what this is for yet, but I imagine that'll peg into the sheath maybe or something. It looks like mine has a little bit of paint slop there, but it's not such a big deal. That's on the inside of it. But also looking pretty good. Next up, we have these little throwing dagger things with the flower on top that she often has in the games. Yeah, it looks nicely painted, lots of tiny, fine details, a little pointy actually. It's a little bit sharp. And there's even a little insignia or something right there, a little gold motif going on. Can't get too much closer than that, I think, but yeah, lots of fine detail on there. These little bits and the swords and stuff are a stiff plastic, by the way, so I would say be careful as they might break easily. So I'll just leave them on the rack for now, but here we go. We've got 6 different hands, plus the hands that are, I imagine, already on the figure. Got a kind of a cool open hand. This might be if she's, you know, pushing down on the ground or something like that. A more relaxed casual hand. You got your ninja, double finger ninja hand. And I don't know, just kind of another casual sort of hand. I wonder if she has gripping hands right now on the figure, because none of these look like they would hold the sword quite right. Yeah, they're a little too big for that. So I imagine right now she has gripping hands. I hope so. But they look pretty good. No nail paint or really any shading to speak of, but the paint that is there looks clean and well done, and the fingers are well sculpted. They look pretty good. Then finally, we just have a few tools here to change out the parts. I think, aren't her eyes movable? I might be wrong on that, but if they are, that's probably what this is for. And I don't know what this is. Is this if she's lactating? Do you use that for that? And then there's an extra, probably wrist peg right there. Okay, rise and shine, Ayane. So this is her big scarf thing. I guess that's on there to protect that. Oh, it's kind of, is it a little clear? I'm not sure. And then we'll take her blanket off. Let's see. There we go. Nice, okay. So let's take a closer look at these parts here. So one thing I really like that stands out is they did her hair in this kind of clear purple plastic. I think that's a nice touch because with figures, you know, especially of this tiny scale, it's so hard to get the sense of hair because obviously you can only sculpt it so fine on a figure like this, unless you're doing like what Hot Toys does now and they have rooted hair and everything like that, but that's going a little too far for figures so small like this. So doing the clear plastic is kind of a smart idea because then that still gives it a bit of that hair transparency like over the headband and the eyes, without having to have all these tiny separate little strands. So that's a cool technique. I like that. And it looks good for her. It gives it a bit of a softer look or something. Her face, she kind of has like the video game look to her. I think like the way the mouth and the nose and stuff is, she does kind of have that, you know, like 360 PS3 arcade kind of graphics face, if you know what I mean. Like it's not super real or super detailed, just has that kind of shape. Now I think the eyes are not quite lined up, eh? This one's looking down a bit. This one is not. Are these separate rolling eyes? Oh, they are. Okay, so that is what that piece is for that I saw earlier. Well, let's see if we can adjust that a bit. So I feel like a lot of these little pieces would snap easy because they're so fine. So we got to be a little careful here. I'm just going to pop the head off just like that. Lay that down. We'll get the face off. Face off. That's a good movie. So back there we can see the two eye things, eye holes or whatever. So let's see. We can try to move it around a bit. So for example, you can have her look. Oh, that's cute. Well, we could have her like that. That's a cute looking ninja. All right, there, I've made her pretty much normal, I think. But that's pretty cool for such a tiny figure that you have the ability, the option to do the separate rolling eyes. You don't usually get that on figures of this scale. Sometimes you do, but most of the time, no. Moving down then, I guess we could take a look at this huge scarf she's got. So obviously this is made to kind of look like butterfly wings, which is pretty cool. That's a nice touch. Earlier when I took it out, I thought it was maybe a bit transparent because I thought I could see shadow like going through it, but I don't think so now that I look at it. It doesn't seem to be. It's just a solid color like that. However, they do have this nice black to whatever you want to call this, a light, like a dark pink or something like that. Anyways, this goes all through it with the different patterns going on both sides. Looks pretty solid, I think. And then that's on a joint here. So if it's kind of in the way or something, you could move it however you want. She's got her bandana on there as well. This back hair is on like a little bit of a hinge, which is smart because then that allows for a huge range going back. I like how she can tuck her face in there a little bit. That's pretty cool. And side to side as well. I had her head kind of down, but it does look like you could bring it up a little bit. And this is a separate piece, this scarf. So maybe at some point I'll pop that off so we can see what she looks like without it. Then we have her shoulder pads right on there. Where are they attached? Oh, maybe on the back. Okay, so I think they're attached to this piece right here maybe, which is nice because then that kind of frees up this front area to do posing. Let's see if we can get our arms together. Looks like you can get a pretty nice range there. So the reason I didn't get, there was obviously the Ryu from Ninja Gaiden, but I felt like his shoulder area was just so ugly and it stood out so much. Some of these Revoltech figures I have, some like Spider-Man and stuff, which is good, but then I have the Magneto, which his articulation is just so glaring and ugly that it really ruined the look of the figure. And so I felt like I don't know, he looked pretty cool, but I didn't like this area on him. But with her, it's a little less noticeable, I think, because these shoulder pads kind of help hide that area. So it just looks a little bit cleaner in there, you know, because obviously there's articulation there, but you can't really, it doesn't like stand out awfully, right? So that's pretty nice. Continuing down, she's got her cool gloves with a matte finish and shiny glossy style. It kind of has like that samurai armor look to it a little bit. And not a double joint, just this, what would you call that, a ball joint? She can only go in about that far, but that's all right. She can go up about that far, I guess, before anything gets in the way. There you start to notice weird armpits. But she can go back and stuff like that, which also looks pretty cool, because then you could get some kind of a, jumping, attacking kind of pose like that. And like I was guessing before, these are hands that could hold the blades. We'll do that in a minute, but she's got a little space in there to hold the sword, and you can turn it around whichever way you want. Although she's very petite, so I would be careful about these little joints in there. So she has different outfits in all the games she's in. This is kind of similar to probably her most iconic ones, but it's like a, what would you call that? Kind of like a corset thing almost going on. But it's cool. It's got the nice purple in there, more armoring on the stomach, and then you can see what would maybe be like some kind of, Kevlar material or something like that going on underneath to protect her. And then that goes through on the back with these little straps, some nice silver paint, really tiny silver paint apps on the front as well. But overall a good shape. She can go about that far over. Super crunch forward. That's really good. And fairly far back, which we saw in the packaging. She's doing like a cool flip pose. That looks pretty nice. I don't know if there's two separate pieces here on the hips. It almost looks like there's this upper piece here and then this lower piece here. Kind of like the crotch piece and then the belt hip area. Not too sure, but I wonder, yeah. So you can see that's kind of moving separately, which I guess is giving her more of that extreme range without things getting in the way. So that's pretty good. And wow, that looks good. You could have some pose where she's just kind of sitting there and relaxing like that. She can almost touch her chest with her legs just about. Oh, look at that, she can. Here she's got those daggers that we were looking at earlier. And these are on just a little peg, I guess, so we could pop them off if she's holding one, I suppose. And this sheath here, this seems to be where you can pop those bladeless handles into here if you don't want her holding the swords, and just do it that way. The knees have a really good range. She does have some extra thing going on the lower part of this knee, so she can really tuck them in a little extra like that. Yeah, that looks great. I like that. Now, I saw somebody on X where they actually took this part and they flipped it, they switched them around so that this bulge was on the back to add to the butt. And I wonder if it looked fine, because I think they didn't like this bulgy part being at the front like that, which it looked fine when they did it, but I wonder if that would hinder some of that big range of the leg, because this seems to follow that shape. Get that out of the way. It seems to follow that shape nicely. So yeah, I wonder if that would have an effect, because I think that bulge is there because boink, you're going to do it like that. It might be good if you just aesthetically want that, but I don't think it's so necessary. It doesn't look so bad or anything. And then down at the feet, we've got more of that cool samurai armor going down. Some good range there on the feet. She's got her little tabby boots, tabby shoes, and an articulated toe as well. But she's still got heels, even though she's wearing ninja boots. So let's get some of these weapons on her, shall we? So that should just slide right in there like that. Let's see. Okay, looks good. She can hold that just fine, but I think usually she holds them backwards, doesn't she? I could be wrong on that, but I think she has kind of the holding it from behind kind of thing going on. Yeah, that looks cool. I don't know if that's accurate, but I think that's a cooler look for her. It looks more Kunoichi-ish. Yeah, something along those lines. That looks really good. And you could have this flying out behind her and some jumping attack like that. That looks good. Let's try putting one into the sheath. It's convenient that they hinged it like this. Let's see if we can pop it off, maybe. Ah, okay. So it's just on like a ball there. And you could pop that right in. Looks good. Looks like it's sheathed. And then pop that back on just like that. And you can even move it out a bit because this obviously has some bulk because of the butterflies there. So you can kind of adjust it however you want depending on her pose, which is once again very convenient. Now as for these, obviously that's not going to fit in there, so maybe we have to switch to a different hand. There we go, we got the open hand on her. Now let's see if she can somehow hold one of these. I don't really know, I don't remember, how does she hold them in the game? Between her fingers or something like that, right? Okay, so I don't know if that's going to be accurate to how she holds them, but that looks pretty good actually. It looks like she can hold it quite fine and no problem. And then I guess what you would do is maybe take one of these off, if that even works. I don't know. That doesn't seem to be coming off too easy. I don't want to force it, so let's just pretend she has an endless amount of these, which I think in the game she pretty much does anyways, right? You can kind of combine stuff like that, have her jumping and holding some swords or holding these weapons or something like that. Yeah, she looks really good. I think you could very easily work her into game accurate or art accurate poses. I think that looks really nice. Especially, I'm not going to do it right now, but if you have the eyes looking over this way, you could get a really cool final pose with her. And I think that she has sort of this neutral expression, which, like I was saying, does look like it's from one of the games, but then also, you know, adjust the eyes. You could have her looking down or something like that. You could get kind of a meaner looking face or a cuter looking face depending on how you position her pose and her eyes. For example, you could get her into some kind of pose like that where maybe she's defeated or tired or something like that. I mean, it would be good if she had an extra expression, like a smiling one or maybe an angry fighting one or something like that, but it's not so bad. Just give us this neutral one. At least we have a few more options that we could do. If it was only a yelling one or something like that, it would be a lot harder to work with. So I think it's not too bad. And having these separate rolling eyes makes a big difference, I think, because that gives you so many more options. Kind of looks like she was in a ninja meeting and then she heard somebody entering from behind. Maybe she suspects another ninja. Before I forget, let's take this scarf off and see what she looks like without that. I almost forgot to do that. Is it attached to this? Yeah, it seems like, I wonder if this pegs out. That does, and then that pops off. Oh, okay. So, I'll just leave that off for a moment just so we can see what she looks like. She's got kind of a weird shaped neck, though. I suppose for the convenience of that thing. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It doesn't look great. It's not terrible, but there is an obviously bizarre gap there that, if you're seeing her at least from straight on, that looks pretty crazy. She is a giraffe woman. So there you go. That is Ayane, the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Ayane. I'm glad I got her. She's better than I had expected, actually. My only really complaint was it would have been nice to have one more expression since we have swappable faces anyways. But aside from that, everything else was fantastic. And I didn't expect the moving eyes, which is a nice touch. And apparently Momiji is next. I think I saw online that that's going to be the next one that they'll make, so I will most likely pick her up too, as it's cool to have these cool Ninja Gaiden ninja ladies. So if you have any questions or comments or whatever, feel free to leave those below, and I will do my best to answer them. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.